welcome to Finale. We loved Caraval, aka Book 1, and we were intrigued by the new direction of Legendary. Now we have the third and final book, the finale if you will, but who knows what we're gonna get.
The difference in between the world of the first and second book was stark. Garber added a whole new mythology to her story between those two books that did add a lot of magic, but clearly wasn't in her plan when she wrote the first book.
So it was interesting to see what shape Finale took and how her conclusion came together.
Without further ado, let's dive into Stephanie Garber's colorful and sparkly world of Caraval.
We left off with the Fates being set free by Legend and Tella, Legend sacrificing himself to the Temple of Stars for Tella so that she could save her mother, and Legend being crowned king, and Tella and Legend being on the outs.
I was expecting the book to take a way different turn than it did. Maybe Tella chasing Legend, having to dive deeper into his past, Paloma waking up and helping her daughters battle the Fates, Nicholas being some sort of evil mastermind, and a final Caraval where Legend makes the stakes so tempting that even the Fates can't resist playing the game.
Or at least something along those lines.
What we got is something different.
Definitely not what we expected. None of those things happened. Tella and crew quickly find out that all of the Fates were created by the fallen star, and that if they defeat him, it will make all of the other ones killable.
But I mean, how do you kill someone who is ageless and immortal?
A good portion of the book is spent trying to figure that out. Tella eventually realizes that Legend and the Fates' powers work much the same way. They will remain immortal as long as they don't love.
Once they feel love, even if it's just for a second, an immortal will become mortal enough to kill. Which means that Tella, Scarlet, and crew have to find a way to make the fallen star, who is notoriously power-hungry, egotistical, and an all-around asshole, feel some love.
Figuring out how to kill the fallen star becomes the ultimate goal of the novel, since the fallen star not only controls the Fates, but is also making a bid for the throne that Legend now holds.
The B-plot of the novel revolves all around romance. Scarlet is waffling on whether Julian is her one true love or not, and if she should maybe try and pursue something with Nicholas. And Tella, on the other hand, is stuck in a love triangle between Legend and Jax, which, by the way, the whole immortal can't feel love thing royally screws her over.
Tella's love life sucks because as much as she loves Legend, he can never love her back, or else he will be sacrificing his immortality, and Jax isn't immortal too, so he can't feel love for her either.
And yes, it did seem like both Legend and Jax were in love with Tella in Legendary, but Garber has an explanation for that. That being that while immortals don't feel love, they can get obsessed with mortals. So more often than not, an immortal gets obsessed with a mortal, and the mortal ends up dead for one reason or another.
But there isn't a lot of difference in this story between love and obsession. They aren't separated well thematically or in action. Tella is supposed to be Jax's one true love, but according to the fact that Jax is still an immortal, he doesn't love Tella. He's obsessed with her. But how he acts is the same way towards Tella as Legend does.
And Legend is supposedly obsessed with Tella too, but he doesn't act any differently towards her once he officially loves her.
And the whole nature of love is kind of the turning point of the story, so it makes things a little confused.
On top of that, Finale focuses on the romance plots a whole lot more than the other two books.
Another thing I expected in this book was for Legend to have a larger role in the story. And don't get me wrong, he was in it a lot, but for an extremely powerful wizard, for a lack of a better word, he's kinda powerless.
Yeah, okay, he can make illusions and still do all the magic-y stuff, but what happened to the man with the plan from the first two books? I mean, the puppet master, the master of Caraval. I mean, he's been alive for like 200 years or something like that. He should at least have some sort of game plan on how to take down the Fates.
But he spends more time chasing Tella than he does protecting his new kingdom, and when he's not off chasing Tella, he's somewhere being mysterious.
It's a little disappointing.
We're trying to avoid spoilers the best we can, so we're going to talk about the ending in the broadest terms possible.
When the book ended, I was a little shocked because there were a lot of plot lines that ended abruptly, concluded too soon, or were just left unfinished.
And the way they went about defeating the fallen star might make even Oedipus and Freud a little uncomfortable.
But more about that when you check out our spoiler review, because major spoilers ahead.
Despite all of its flaws, Finale was still enjoyable. Tella is still an edgelord, and all of her angsty angst just feeds my soul.
And the world of Caraval is powerful enough to overcome a lot of flaws. I mean, the Fates are still completely dark and fascinating and larger than life, and the world itself still sparkles and is crammed with magic in every corner like a unicorn barfed all over it.
I would be interested in seeing another series following a completely new set of characters in the world of Caraval. Now that Garber has her first series out of the way and some experience under her belt, I think she could do wonderful things set in the world of Caraval.
We were excited to get our hands on this book and just as excited to read it. And yes, finale wasn't the most satisfying ending to a series, but it is worth reading.
So if you were a fan of the last two books or were just waiting to hear how the final book played out, give Finale a read.
And we will be staying tuned for whatever else Stephanie Garber writes next. So happy finale!